My fellow Americans, I don't think you've woken up yet. Okay, let me, this is going to be on a different subject, but let me tell you something that I know a lot of you people are listening to my videos and probably wondering if this guy's nuts or if he's telling the truth. Many of you think obviously know that I'm telling the truth, but are afraid to respond, and because you're afraid of the government. So let me tell you how to do this. Specifically, I told you, vote him out of office, but that's just a generality. Here's what you must start doing. There's 4 things. First, you must proliferate this video. It's not being proliferated enough. You've got to get people to watch all my videos, not just this one, of course. And I don't care how you do it. Pass out brochures, call people, email, etc., etc. That's vitally important. Step 2 is you must start, when you go to these rallies or anything, make the message simple. Either impeach or vote them out of office, or don't tell them to change their ways. They're not going to change their ways, okay? Believe me, they're not. They're adamant in their philosophy of this sick philosophy of Machiavellian communism. And they've been that way for many years. The Democrats have been that way for many years. The Republicans are moving over to it because what are you going to do? They can't fight it. And the concept of, for the good of the all, again, is the same exact thing. So don't argue with them. They think you're morons anyhow. They're really morons, but they think you're morons. They think you're like ants. You're not even creatures of the higher order. So don't get into arguments with them. I see you doing that in these town hall meetings. Simple. Impeach. We want to impeach you, sir. With all due respect, you're not of the right American concept anymore. You have a philosophy of Machiavellian communism. Don't argue with them. Vote them out of office, okay? You can do that by petitions. You have the right to petition, by the way. All these things are perfectly legal. I would not lead you astray. You can petition. Now, they don't, they're not going to respond to the petition, but if you do enough names on the petition and you submit it to them, take it to their office, make them sign for it. They have to accept it, by the way, and also a copy to Fox News of all the petitions you do. And the petitions should be simple. You want them to resign. You want them to resign. They're Machiavellian communism, and they're going to cause a world war and nuclear holocaust, which I'm going to get into later. I'm going to prove it to you. Don't get too scared, because it's going to happen if you don't make some changes right now. And the third thing, you must do is you must find out the companies they own or they support or they're affiliated with and stop buying their products. This is going to be profound, by the way. They'll sit back and say, wow, and do this on an organized level with groups or individually, I don't care how, but stop supporting these people. They're all multimillionaires and they're supported in numerous ways. Maybe they just own certain stocks. Find out the stocks they have. You can do this, by the way. And find out the stocks. Those stocks don't have anything to do with, or sell off all your stocks in that corporation that they have the stocks in. Okay, I'm going to stop this and. Okay, why is this going to happen? I want you to watch this as I speak. I know it's going to happen. First of all, let me give you some factual, historical evidence. Put it all together and you'll come to the same syllogism. I don't know whether there's 700 or 900 Russian suitcase bombs still out there, unaccountable for. The CIA, the FBI, nobody, various Israeli forces have not been able to find them. I don't doubt that some terrorist groups don't have these bombs. Maybe they have more than one, these suitcase bombs. Maybe they've constructed their own. How would they use this? You think they're insane or something? No, they're not insane. I'll explain to you what happened. 500 and some years ago, I think it was 512 AD, is when Muhammad came into power. He was a vicious man. He wars it. It's a vicious religion. You've seen many tapes on it. I have another one on this more specifically. But it's really important for you to understand something. If you don't believe me, get it English. Go to a good library, English copy of the Quran, check it out, and read it. You'll see it. And then know
For 1,500 years, Islamics, millions of Islamics, were not educated. All they were done was they were taught to memorize the Quran. To memorize the Quran. And let me tell you, part of the Quran is once you become their enemy, they don't just hate you, they hate your children and generations on. If your name is bad to them like they hate the Israelis, the Israelis know this. Get some non-political Israelis, and I spent a month over there and talked to them, educated ones, professors. They'll tell you the same thing, I'm telling you. And they're afraid to death of this too. But they know that if they blow it off there in Israel, that the Israelis will really retaliate. So, this is what they're taught. They're taught to hate you forever and generations forever. I mean, your children, your grandchildren, this is what they're taught. And they're taught to die is fine in this cause, to spread the religion. They only been in the past 50 years started to be educated. And even then it's biased. The only ones that come over here, it's biased too, but it's not as bad. These are really good people that have not evolved. The religion does not allow them to evolve. And people, Republicans, Democrats, and all these Machiavellian communists, they won't tell you this. And you know why they won't tell you this? Because they don't want you to overreact. And the right response is to get out of all these countries, get out of harm's way, let them evolve or let them devolute. Even the ones in this country, okay, most of them aren't violent because they've been educated. They're educated here. With education comes knowledge and comes the desire for peace and spreading the peace concept over religion. But I'll bet you any money, and I know that the FBI probably knows this too, it's not politically correct to reveal it, but these American Islamics are giving money back to their families and to terrorist organizations. You can be sure of it. Because if they're still Islamic, they'll do that. And the way to fight that is take these educated Islamics and try to convert them. Either atheism, Christianity, Judaism, anything but Islam. And they'll slowly come around too. But the course that we're taking in the news this week, I'm going to try to do things relative into the news. Talking about Afghanistan, expanding the war there. And, I mean, we should be out of there. Heck, this revenge on these religious leaders and everything. That's not going to solve anything. You kill one, another one will take over because they're taught for 1,500 years a land of destruction and killing people that don't agree with you and that aren't converted to it. This is what they're taught. Think about this. Go get a Quran. Read it. And also tell your Fox News people probably just don't know the history of the land, don't know the Quran. They've heard things. I think they would start revealing if they did. They should get some books and start studying and reading this. Part of, the news, when you present the current news, you should know the past news. And I mean back to the beginning of its inceptions. Its inceptions were violent and cruel and, obscure in nature. That's why this is going to happen. Some terrorist group either has, and they're planning this, or they're going to do it, maybe when they're at a point where they're going to be distinct, and they'll feel it'll come back, and they'll think nothing of it. They're following their religion. They're following what they've been taught to do for 1,500 years. That's why the picture's up there. That's what's going to happen unless you get rid of these politicians who are, they think you're morons. They're morons who don't realize this. They know this, by the way. They know this. They know that the Islamic people are evil in nature, not because they're bad people, because they've been taught for 1,500 years, generation after generation, to kill anybody that doesn't follow their pursuit or anybody that interferes with them. I mean, 9/11 was caused by American politicians. Did you hear me, folks? That's what caused the 3,000 deaths. American politicians. I hear Hannity and everything, about war, and get these Islamics. For crying out loud, they didn't cause it. They only did what they were taught. We're trying to invade. We're helping Israel. We're trying to invade their lands. Our police actions. I hope you've seen my one on police actions.